Welcome everybody to old-time skiing and filming in Scotland in the early 30s. My name is Pat Carmichael. To help you to follow, I will identify some of those taking part in the race meeting scenes when they come through. Also to be seen skiing later will be Harry McRobert and his daughter Frances, Ian Rutherford, and Dudley Drakeford doing spring jumps off a small overhang cornice. Some will make deliberate falls in front of the camera. This was an absolutely perfect day, rare in Scotland, blue sky all round, and fine snow covering all slopes. And now someone very well known in early skiing organisation. You will see him traversing towards the right. That is Colin Fraser, the main organiser of the first ski race in Scotland, followed by Alistair Wallace, whose distinctive skiing style was very well known to many. I'm pleased to have Philip Rankin watching the film with me now. Well, Philip, would you like to give your views on the joys and tribulations on the subject of Ben Lawes on ski?
Ben Lawes on ski. I started my career there, but quite some time after this scene was really being shown. It is a very essential part of the Scottish skiing history. Ben Lawes was, to me at any rate, the era of the happiest days of all. It had a low level of efficiency and a very high level indeed of social enjoyment, happiness, and all the good fellowship that went with skiing in those days, which sadly I think a lot has been lost in favour of a much more efficient, higher speed, higher fi art altogether, which one sees nowadays. You will have noticed particularly that the standard of skiing seemed, by today's standards, abysmally low.
Thanks, Philip. More from you later. Yes, the slopes indeed, being tested out by a well-known super skier of the Murren elite, Patricia Rayburn, who's checking out in the snow, the quality of which changes rapidly in the Scottish climate. And now for a brief glimpse at the extreme left in the hut, Jack Pittman, there he is, whose father presented the trophy for the first race. And on the left there, Ronald Hickenbotham, who perhaps did more for Scottish skiing at that time than anyone else. Colin Fraser beside him. Ronald now emerges from the hut to join his wife Vivian, and on the extreme right, Willie Shand, and then Harold Dixon. And in the dim recesses beyond Colin Fraser, Marjorie Ross McLean with F. Hunnisberger. And here's Charles Kerr giving us a piercing look, and Jay Thompson eating his fill. And then for again well-known course setter with flags, Colin Fraser, followed by expert in all ski racing, Lady Rayburn, and Harry McRobert giving some advice on the course setting too. Due to extremely bad weather conditions, very few scenes of the actual race itself were in. And so as to get some kind of recognizable pictures, the scenes were chosen where the competitors were almost standing still. For instance, if we look now at a slightly faster competitor, Neil Mackenzie, it was possible to recognize him, you see. But as for the others, well, the bad weather closed in on us. And so the first organised ski race in Britain was won by Patricia Rayburn. A call was put through to senior member John Pittman, asking him to present a trophy, which he indeed did, and became the Pittman Quake. And now, Philip Rankin again. Carry on, Philip.
But many a day, many a weekend we've gone, seen wonderful snow on Saturday, set a course and come back on Sunday to find a lot of remarkably silly little flags in the middle of a grassy slope. And this was the downfall, the only downfall of Ben Lawers. It had great charm, great atmosphere, that most difficult of all things to define, and it was socially a very, very happy era. Well, it was largely due to me, I think, that this was pointed out. The club had to be shifted somehow or other, somewhere else where there was snow, if we were ever going to get away from the tedious, health-giving, no doubt, but not very productive method of climbing hills.
Thanks, Philip. And now we're reminded of the mountaineering scene. Here comes Mrs. Jeffrey, followed by her husband, Robert Jeffrey. Those well-known mountaineers. Do you know that Robert Jeffrey, at the age of 50, with a party including his wife, pioneered an original climb in the Cullins that became known as Jeffrey's Dyke, 1,000 feet of it. Now, what's just above where this man checks and turns, a large black rectangular object, Higginbotham's Rock, named after our redoubted, at that time, secretary. A well-known landmark in these parts and rallying point. Meet me beside Higginbotham's Rock, or behind it, as a bad weather shelter. And now we are congregating round the one and only Scottish Ski Club hut at the beginning of a memorable race day. Making ready outside the Ben Glass hut, it is difficult to name people as the scene shifts about so rapidly. But nonetheless, we certainly must recognize Charles Connell, gaily bedecked with the flags, moving off to the Ben Glass slope, as at the first time, as always, a race for Scottish Ski Club members. And you will see the first course of the Herd Trophy race being set by Harry McRobert, Harold Dixon and Charles Connell, followed by very brief scenes of the race itself, spoiled by faulty processing. Was part of what is probably the first amateur colour film of skiing in Scotland. Let us move from the races to the wide open spaces, the vast snow fields above Carmarthen Lodge. Great tracts of unbroken snow stretched from the hills and ridges to the east right down to the main road below.